Good evening, this is the May 10th meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals. First up, we have a reserved decision, which we're putting off until the next meeting. Do we hear a motion?
Do you want me to read that, Mr. Chairman?
The date.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the appeal number 18-016, JLL Properties Corp. by Jose Farina be put off another
The
another
24th.
meeting from May 24th.
So moved. Second.
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 Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Ms. Worthington?
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire?
Aye.
Mr. Seabrook?
Aye.
And I vote aye. We have two extensions that have been asked for. We're putting both of those off until the next meeting. We don't have to make a motion on those, do we?
No, because they're just a letter.
Yeah, no, okay. Anyway, the appeal of Farm Country Kitchen and Kenneth Schroeder will be put off at the next meeting. Still under discussion. All right, there you go, Randy, off you go.
First up is appeal number 2018-015, Robert and Roberta Heller, 3 Oak Drive, Jamesport, tax map number 67115, RB40 zoning, for variances to and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 15A1C, where proposed detached garage is 5 feet from the rear property line and a minimum of 10 feet is required, where proposed detached garage is 20 feet from side street and the minimum required is 40 feet, where proposed in-ground pool and rear yard is 25 feet from side street and the minimum required is 40 feet, and Section 17, where the proposed building area is 35.5% of the lot and the maximum permitted is 30%.
Mr. DeLuca, kindly raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? Please state your name and your address.
Jim DeLuca, 12 Linda Lane East, Riverhead.
You have the floor.
Okay, we're here tonight for several variances. As I noted in the application, the property is a pre-existing non-conforming lot, and the owner wants to construct a garage and a pool. And basically, the garage is going to be 30 by 28, and it'll be 5 feet from the side yard, which is actually further than the existing garage that's there now. That existing garage and the canvas awning metal frame building are both going to be removed. And he also wants to construct a in-ground pool that's 12 by 25. If you note on the survey, both these for the garage, the 20-foot setback, and for the pool, the 25-foot setback on the street side is actually more than the existing setback, which is approximately 16.5 feet on the existing house, and the existing rear yard on the existing rear yard on the existing house is approximately 5 feet, and these two new additions will be 10 and 10. So we're not encroaching any more on the side yards than are existing, and same with the front yard than existing. We're actually holding things further away than they are at the present time. Board have any questions?
Is there a second floor in the garage, Jim?
Excuse me?
Is there a second floor in the
Yes.
garage?
Yes. I have a little elevation if you want to see it.
Please.
There's a storage area that's on the second floor. I thought you might be asking.
So Jim, it's not intended for any habitable space, correct?
Pardon me?
It is not intended for any habitable
No,
space?
no, it's just storage. It's gonna have an interior floor and all exterior there. And, I gave you the front and the front view and the east view.
Well, it's certainly a small piece of property, but it's certainly well-maintained, and I commend the owners for keeping it a beautiful piece of property.
So far.
All right, let's see, anyone else have any comments? No one? Was that a hand raised? Please step up to the microphone.
As a condition.
Yeah, okay. If you kindly raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes,
And if you kindly state your name and your address.
yes, I'm Elizabeth Nels, 16 Downs Boulevard, Jamesport. The Hellers are neighbors, they're wonderful neighbors. I just have concerns about our property, our community is a very small little beach community with very small lots. And I just have real concerns about overbuilding on the spaces that we have, that people have on their lots. I also have concerns about flooding because this part of our community where Downs Boulevard and Oak Drive become one, gets very flooded when we have storms, which would be a problem for them. And I don't know how that would affect everything else. It just seems like there's a lot of space being taken up with buildings and pools and houses. And they've done a beautiful job of landscaping and growing gardens, but it's not all on their property. So I'm just concerned about the density, if this sets a precedence for, other homes, since it is such a small little area. But I haven't seen the plans, so I don't know, exactly. That's just my,
Certainly can make that available to you right now.
I mean,
Bring this up to it. Why don't we do this, we'll call a timeout here, you take a look at the plans, we'll call up the next,
sure, absolutely.
and you,
I mean,
well, take 10 minutes, 15 minutes out,
I,
go back to your seat,
I
take a
don't
look at them,
wanna
and if
be
you
a-
have any questions, you
Yeah.
ask Mr. DeLuca.
it's just my concern that it's
I
gonna
certainly
be very
understand.
crowded.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have a little timeout here, and we'll go to the next one, next appeal.
Mr.
Go ahead,
DeLuca has
Mr. DeLuca.
I was gonna answer about we're gonna put drywalls in for the roof, any roof runoff.
Okay.
So we'll take care of that. And we're gonna maintain the proper elevation of the garage for the flood, any flood area in there. So it's elevation, I believe it's 6, I gotta check on it. But the floor will be at the
It's
proper.
not AE though, is it?
Huh?
It's not AE, is it?
I have it right here. Part of it's in AE, part of it's out.
Okay.
But we'll put drywalls in for any roof runoff, and also for the pool.
How many feet to water, Jim?
Pardon me?
How many feet to water?
I think there's like about almost 3. feet of
Okay.
water. Oh, is it 5? 5 feet, sorry.
All right, so we're taking a timeout here.
Okay.
If they have any questions for Mr. DeLuca, please grab him, just go in the hallway with him. If you want. Okay, all right.
Next appeal is number 2018-018, Michael Iacono, 6189 North Country Road, Wading River. tax map number 657-2, 7.5, RB80 zoning, for variances and or relief from Chapter 301, Section 29A1C, where proposed accessory solar panels are 10 feet from the southern and eastern property lines and a minimum of 20 feet is required.
You kindly raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. You're speaking to the microphone. Name and address, please.
My name is Seth Walker. I am representing Greenleaf Solar, 11 Technology Drive, East Setauket, 11733.
Okay.
Excuse me, what was your name, sir?
Seth Walker.
Try to speak into the microphone, but you have to move it over a little bit.
All right.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman? I
Yes.
may have a conflict here, so I'm gonna step out of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we're proposed for a solar system, which is a ground array right now, in Mr. Iacono's backyard. The variance would be to decrease the space between the property line and the solar system by 10 feet on both sides. Right now, we're proposing to go 10 feet to the east property line, 10 feet to the south property line. It's pretty standard in our industry. It's got the best direction, the best production for the homeowner, so we're trying to do what he needs done.
Why does it have to be right on top of the,
Well, there are no residences or homes to the south of his property. There's another farmland there, which on the other side of that is North Country Road. 25. So there's nothing obstructing his view there.
okay.
So it's just,
So you have a, you're looking for 10 feet as opposed to 20 feet.
yes, sir.
What's the purpose of the rest of their property where you can't just give it 20 feet?
He just wanted to be as far from his property, as far from his home as possible. And his roof, as of right now, would need a new roof if we were to put it on his roof.
I'm sorry?
His roof would need a new roof if we were to put the system onto his roof. So he prefers to put it into his yard and avoid getting a new roof, which he doesn't need a new roof right now, but it's not good enough for solar right now.
Excuse me,
Yes,
the
sir.
lot's about 422 feet deep.
Yep.
And this solar panel is in one of the corners at the, furthest point. What difference would it make if they were 20 and 20 off the lot lines?
He just prefers for it to be here. If there was someone who didn't want it to be there, then he's more than willing to put it back to 20 and 20. He just prefers for it to be there so he can still use his full yard.
Okay, well, you can always ask.
Yeah, that's didn't hurt for us to come here and
Did
try.
you answer Mr. Seabrook's question, that what else is gonna be on the back of this lot, anything?
No, he just has his land,
Okay.
his yard.
Is there any neighbors here?
Okay. Why don't you have a seat, we'll take some neighbors up. And if you kindly raise your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Both of you can state your names.
My name is John Kinsella. I'm here with my father. His name's also John Kinsella. I'm a 32-year resident of the town and a fourth-generation farmer. We both work on the farm full-time. It's our livelihood. And to start off, I'd like to thank the town for inviting us down tonight to comment on the petitioner's request for variance. We are not in support of the variance. It seems there's plenty of room on the property to construct the panels and abide by the setback required by the town. In addition to that, and the main reason we're here is the closer the solar array is to our farm, the greater the negative impact we will experience. And this negative impact that I'm speaking of is our increased liability with regard to the panels and us inadvertently damaging those panels as a result of our routine farm operations. In addition to that, other negative impacts would be potential damage to our property, our fence, infrastructure that we have, the deer fencing. In an event of a storm, or if there was a support failure and the panels were to break free. And I was able to see the plans. I didn't see any height information at all on the plans. I've seen ground-mounted solar arrays as tall as a two-story house. So if that is what is planned here, then we would also have the negative impacts of potential shading issues with our blueberry crop, which is right next door to the site in question. And in closing, I think it's important to consider the petitioner's ability to make reasonable use of his land, and that a true hardship is not just ordinary inconvenience. The hardship should be unique to the property and not self-created. My father and I farm the land for a livelihood and can't afford to stop farming the area in vicinity of these panels.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so how tall will these solar panels be off the ground?
They're approximately 11 feet at the top of the panel, so we,
11 feet in height?
yeah.
So what is the hardship that you can't have them set back from the property for 20 feet?
It's just where his preference was, so I figured it wasn't hard to come here.
It's just the homeowner's preference.
Okay.
As far as panels being set free and that, like, that's never happened. They're all fastened down with footings that are completely passed by all specs for the town's requirements. Damage to the panel if a rock gets thrown from a lawnmower, yeah, potentially. The homeowner's insurance would cover that also. So we don't see an issue with that kind of stuff. If that's the way the town goes, then we move the panels back to 20 feet.
I think 20 feet's gonna be the number. If you can move them back a few more feet to be good neighbors.
You don't need to come here for 10 more feet.
No,
I mean,
just-
you
Oh,
have
we
it-
understand, you know, everybody wants to get what they want.
Yeah.
The customer wanted me to get 20
Okay.
feet, so.
All right.
It's what it
Well,
was.
we certainly understand the Gonzalez concerns, so.
All right.
Let's go with 20 feet. If you can do them 25, that'd probably be a little
Well,
nicer.
Do we,
Well, the
Probably
code
stick
is
with 20
20.
feet,
Yeah.
20, the code is 20.
Okay,
all right?
all right. So let's
Good
have-
luck. Do we have to read and deny it,
Yeah, yeah,
Dawn? Do we have to read and deny it?
read and deny it.
Okay. I move that the appeal of Michael Iona at 6189 North Country Road, Wading River, tax map number 657, 2-7.5, RB 80 zoning, for variances to and relief from Chapter 301, Section 29A, 1C, where proposed accessory solar panels are 10 feet from the southerly and eastern property line and a minimum of 20 feet is required, be denied in accordance with the application and sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
Moved and seconded?
All right, Ms. Worthington?
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire?
Aye.
Mr. Seabrook?
Aye?
And I vote aye, so that appeal has been denied. Mr. Gonzalez, thanks very much. Blueberry's gonna be a little late this year?
Not too late.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Mr. DeLuca, ladies, you have anything for Mr. DeLuca? Yeah. Sure, you can do that.
No, I can't put it anywhere.
You have anything else, any other comments?
Of course.
Yeah.
When you have it here,
I own.
then you put
I think the plans are lovely. I mean, I think it's a really beautiful building. And I think that the attic will be great with the dormer and, you know, full windows, so, you know, again, it just seems like a lot of building for a small lot. But it's, you know, I don't want to say what somebody should do, it's just a concern.
Okay.
I think the owner has demonstrated, though, that he obviously cares about his property and.
Oh,
has a
lovely.
well-maintained-
Oh, no, they're wonderful neighbors, and the property is beautifully maintained. I'm just concerned if it sets a precedence for the, congestion isn't the word, but just for the amount of buildings in a small little beach community.
Okay.
That's all.
All right.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah.
Anyone else to be heard? Do you have any other comments, Mr. DeLuca?
No, just, I repeat what I said before, we'll take care of any rainwater runoff or anything that has to do with the pool or the garage.
Okay.
And I'll put that on the plans, you know, if you approve it, then I'll put them on.
Anybody else have anything else? Any other
No.
questions? Leroy?
Nope.
Move that the appeal of Robert and Roberta Heller, 3 Oak Drive, Jamesport, Suffolk County Tax Map Number 600-70-1-15-RB40 zoning for variance to and a relief from Chapter 301, Section 15A1C, where proposed detached garage is 5 feet from the rear property line and a minimum of 10 feet is required. Where proposed detached garage is 20 feet from the side street and minimum required is 40 feet. Where proposed in-ground pool and rear yard is 25 feet from side street and the minimum required is 40 feet. In section 17, where the proposed building area is 35.5% of the lot and that the maximum permitted is 30%. Be granted in accordance with the application and the sketches with amendments thereto, if any, as filed with the building inspector.
Second.
Mr. Barnes?
Aye.
Ms. Worthington?
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire?
Aye.
Mr. Seabrook?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So your appeal has been granted, and you know the process from here. Mr. DeLuca.
Thank you very much.
Good luck. Okay.
Next is appeal number 2018-020, Stephen and Stephanie McKinnon, 87 Barnes Road, Wading River, tax map number 695-11, RB80 zoning, for variances and/or relief from Chapter 301, Section 28C, for a conditioned space/studio use in a detached garage where habitable space in a detached structure is not customarily incidental to the principal single-family use.
Good evening. Charles Cuddy for the applicant, 445 Griffin Avenue, Riverhead, New York. Both Mr. and Mrs. McKinnon are here with me tonight. As indicated, this is in the RB80 zone. It's on Barnes Avenue. Barnes Road in Wading River. The term conditioned space, according to Mr. Hammond, the building inspector, is really just saying it's a particular use of a space. What they have is a garage that's in accordance with the town code. It's set back 200 feet from the street. The lower part of the garage is going to be used to store a number of cars that Mr. McKinnon has, sports cars. And he proposes to use the upper part as an office. He's a professional engineer, and he works full-time, but he has also a specialty, a fire suppression specialty, that he works in by himself in this office. He needs to have an office separated from his house for 2 specific reasons. One, he has small children, and 2, his in-laws, one of them suffers from serious Alzheimer's disease. And so he can't really work inside his house. And that's why he would like to be able to use the second floor of this garage. It's not a place where people are going to come, it's just a place where he can work on his specialty, which is, as I say, a professional engineer. So there is really no adverse impact to the community. It's going to be set back a good distance. The environment isn't going to get impacted by it. He has little alternative because he can't really work inside his house. And again, it's just him working at this particular site in the second floor of the garage. In that zone, as you know, you can have a professional office, but you'd have it in the house. He just can't have it in the house for the reasons I explained, and that's why he's asking that it be put in the garage.
Okay. Anybody have any questions? Board members?
Mr. Cuddy, do you have a floor plan of the second floor in the garage?
I think we just had this survey just showing the second floor. I don't know that there's a particular floor plan laid out.
Okay.
So the stairs will be inside?
Yeah, the inside is just going to, it's essentially a 700-foot area on the second floor. He's gonna put his equipment in there, have a desk in there, but not much more than that.
Will he have any bathing facilities or
No.
any
The-
water closets?
This is, no, there's a bathroom in the lower part of the garage, but not in the upstairs. And
Okay.
this place could be used, I think, as you know, as an accessory apartment, but it's not being used. It absolutely is not an apartment, and he's not applying for that.
Until he gets his first tax bill.
No, he-
Another question is, I see it says 87 Barnes Road, but shouldn't it be 18 Barnes Road? Huh?
I think 18 is the lot number?
Yeah, I think there are two numbers that they have.
But if you look each side of you,
Yes, everybody.
it kind of, that's what you're gonna be assigned is 18.
It says, yeah, the house next door says 17, and then has 77 on the box, so I'm not sure. They use both, I guess.
What?
They have two numbers. It's lot number 17 and 77.
No, but they probably, when they numbered the street, then they renumbered the street and people carried on to use the original numbers. So, check with the town engineering department, they actually assign the house numbers to make sure either it's 87 or 18, but I think it's gonna wind up to be 18.
It is 18 on
It's lot 18, I know that, but I was just pointing that out for the record, that's all, no problem.
Anyone else have any comments about this property?
What is?
Nobody? Okay, so do we.
Okay, so, I move that the appeal of Stephen and Stephanie McKinnon of 18 or 87 Barnes Road, for variances and relief from Chapter 301, Section 28C for a conditioned space studio used in a detached garage where habitable space in a detached structure is not customarily incidental to the principal single-family use. Be approved in accordance with the applications and sketches and amendments, therefore, as filed in the building department.
Second.
All right, Mr. Barnes,
Aye.
Ms. Worthington,
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire,
Aye.
Mr. Seaboard,
Aye.
and I vote aye.
Thank you.
You know the process.
Yes,
Take care, Mr. Cuddy.
thank you.
All right.
Next is appeal number 2018-021, Wenhui Guo, 65 Alfred Avenue, Baiting Hollow, tax map number 679-1, 1.10, APZ zoning, for variances and a relief from Chapter 301, Section 37A2, for a proposed deer fence 8 feet in height erected in the front yard of a residential lot where the maximum permitted height is 4 feet in the front yard.
Who's representing? Who's here? Folks, swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth. Just
I do.
state your names and your address.
My name is Wen Kui Guo,
Wendy Bong.
my wife.
Okay.
Could you spell that?
Okay.
Could
It's
you
on-
spell that, please?
Oh.
Her name.
WENKWEI, and last name GUO.
And my last name spells Huang.
Okay.
Thank you.
We live in 65 West Alfred Avenue, and for 8 years. And we are here to appeal for variance to install a 8-foot fence along the east side of our property. The house, along the house number 25, 35, 45, 55, West Alfred Avenue. Right now, there's no fence in between the properties. And along the 75 85, we won't install the fence because they already have 6-foot fence there. And the reason we like to install the fence because past 2 years, we have deer coming to our property and destroy our plant trees and vegetables and whatever we install, and deer will come and destroy it. So,
Well, I don't think an 8-foot fence is gonna do it. You know, that deer, they can get up pretty high. You'd probably be better off putting some kind of fence around your garden more than the front lawn. Just my own observation, I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think an 8-foot fence is gonna do anything, but, go ahead.
Well, they are adjacent, our lot is attached to the other adjacent farmlands, and they already have all the 8-foot deer fence up along all our side of their property.
Okay.
So these trees that you have on the farm, are they used for personal use?
Yes, they are.
So
We
you don't
have-
sell them to the public?
No, we don't.
Okay.
We had, only in the past 2 years, we have encountered this deer problem that eat our hostas and the strawberry bush and our fruit trees. But prior to that, for 5 years, we had no problem, and we had no intention to put up deer fence until this past 2 years, all the fruit, the hostas are all gone.
Well, I
You're
have, the
you're growing stuff too good.
I have the same problem. They're eating my hostas too.
And it's terrible. You plant it and then it's gone, and then I don't want to leave a mess. I like to look at a nice yard, and
I understand that. How many plantings do you have? I mean, how many trees are planted in there?
we have
we
Hi.
have.
100,
we have-
200?
We have
Orchard.
100
Pear trees.
pear trees in
Pear
the back.
in the backyard, yeah.
But they are,
We-
half of them are destroyed. So we
We-
had, in the past, we had shared the fruit tree with the neighbors and our friends and families. And they are
Okay.
like Asian pear trees.
Because I know that there are other farms around there that have a deer fence already.
Yeah, they already have
So-
deer fence.
That could be pushing the population your way, but, I don't, deer fencing really was intended to be allowed in agricultural uses, mostly for nursery stock, for farmers. It wasn't intended for residential uses. But, that's only what I know about it. It doesn't mean I'm opposed to it, but I would like to hear what the neighbors have to say.
But being that our lot, it is attached to the other farmland, and they already have their deer fence up.
Okay.
So your lot is a flag lot,
Yes,
and it's behind
It's a T lot, yeah.
the lots that are on
T
West
lot.
Alfred Avenue.
Okay.
So your front yard is their rear yard, is that what you said?
our
Yes,
front yard,
correct.
yeah.
Our front yard is our neighbor's backyard.
Right.
And normally, when people put up fences in their backyard, they put up a 6-foot fence anyway. And for
It's
those
allowed.
neighbors that already have their fence up, we're not gonna put
We are not
deer
doing-
fence because
yeah.
already have the 6-foot fence up.
Okay. All right, let's hear what some of the neighbors have to say. Whoever wants to come up. Just raise your right hand, you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Patrick Farinaccio. I live about 3-4 houses away from them. I'm adjacent, my backyard is adjacent to their lot. They have a pretty big lot. I'm not against putting up the fence. I already have a fence myself. But a few houses next to me don't have a fence, and a few houses down do have a fence. And,
I'm sorry, I just need to clarify. Your backyard is their front yard?
it's the end, because their lot is pretty long.
It's large, yeah.
1,200 feet, I think.
What's your lot number?
8.
Oh, he's way over here.
I'm
So
like
only a
that-
portion of your property, rear yard,
Yeah,
adjoins their yard?
yeah,
No problem.
backyard, yes.
Does anybody have any problems with the deer fence? Okay, one of you here, one of you fellows come up.
Go ahead, sir.
You swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God. Kindly state your name and your address, please.
My name is Donald McIntosh, 75 West Alfred Avenue, Bating Hollow, New York, 11933.
And your lot number is?
I believe 12.
Okay, so you're on one
So
side
you're
of
to
the...
the right of their driveway.
If you face it on this road, I'm to the right.
Yep.
I
Okay.
believe I have
We
the lot,
gotcha.
I have the lot number, I have the plans
Right,
here.
go ahead.
No, that's good.
No,
got
we
it.
have it.
Okay. In 2013, 2014, my neighbors behind me, who, Mr. Guo, put up a 8-foot deer fence behind my property only. I had a discussion with the town attorney, Mr. Kasahevich, I believe I'm not pronouncing it correctly.
You got it.
Okay. That this was not allowed due to the covenants and restrictions which were put on the property by the Suffolk County Health Department. Without going to the planning board first to get permission, it's in your town code, and once they get permission from the town planning board to do anything with the covenants, the buffer zone, and the natural open space, then they can put up a fence or whatever they want. Actually, a fence only. There cannot be any structures on the property other than a fence. No, it's, the reason, as you know, the covenants and restrictions are put on buffer zones and natural space to, for the aquifer. So what happened was, after discussion with Mr. Katsahevich about the fence that was not permitted because the town only permits a 6-foot fence, I had a discussion with him. If you notice on the plans, there are more than one lot line. There's a 2.5-acre building plot, and the other area is natural space, open buffer. So my question here is, the beginning, before I have my statement, is the front yard of his property should be where the 2.5 acres of his building plot is, and the front yard should not be where the buffer zone is. That's what I had a discussion, Mr. Kasahevich.
Well,
Out
there
of
is
the,
a
out of the
sep-
goodness of my heart, I told him to cut the 8-foot fence behind my property down to 6 foot. He only did my section, according to the covenants and restrictions. He was supposed to do all of his property, the 8.5 acres, but I neglected. I gave him the benefit of doubt and said, listen, just cut it down to 6 foot, that's it. I spent a couple $1,000 to put trees and I hid the fence, but I am objected to now to an 8-foot, quote, deer fence to be put up in the rest of the neighborhood along the back lot lines. It's unnecessary. There's people that have dogs, they have other fences in the front to protect. There's swimming pools, there's a trampoline on their properties, they have trees, they have sheds. The deer, and plus there's traffic, vehicle traffic and pedestrian traffic, and the kids playing. I doubt the deer are gonna come through the neighborhood and go onto his property. If you see how it is, if he takes the fence and puts it from the catch basin, an 8-foot fence, out to where his property line is in the farmland, across the back, and come back this way, over to the edge, that'll keep the deer out. The pear trees are on the northern section of his property in the buffer zone, so all he would have to do is put, like you said, a fence across that way from the buffer zone and along his property line and just encompass his pear trees. There's no reason to put, listen, down a block, there's another farmland, I think it's Fedden, I'm not sure who owns that property next to, they just put up an 8-foot fence and did it only there. They're supposed to encompass the whole area. I think there's 100 acres of farmland there. They did not do it, they just blocked the neighbors off. I believe it's not for deer on theirs, it's just to keep the kids out. That's what yes, sir.
So you're saying that you're on lot 12.
Yes, 75 West Ave. If you go in the driveway, I'm on the right.
So your rear property line is 70 feet
Yes.
from their front property line.
Yes.
And you're testifying today that you have a problem with the additional 2
8-foot
feet,
fence.
with the 8-foot fence.
With the 8-foot fence, I did not see the plans for what's going on now. The plans show the request for the 8-foot.
It doesn't depict where the fencing is going, which I was going to ask.
Okay, so there, I'm just trying to protect
There is a
myself.
delineated lot lines around the house.
Yes,
That's the building envelope.
okay. Now,
And then when you refer to the covenant restrictions, do you have a copy of the covenant
yes, I do,
restrictions?
sir.
And I would assume they are applicable to them as well. 'Cause it's
Everyone-
the whole subdivision, correct?
The whole subdivision got covenants and restrictions. When I bought the property, I got the covenants and restrictions. Well, I had a sign, there was when we did the closing, I had my attorney look at it. I've gone over this, I've been going on with this since 2013, because there's other things that have been going on with violations. I don't know if you have the folder on the property, or you don't have the folder? Okay.
We only have the application
Okay, so
folder.
there was other violations, when I went over with Mr. Downs, on the property which was done and violated the covenants and restrictions. When they're tilling up the whole area, a buffer zone, and, the natural space, dumping debris, allowing the neighbor to go back and forth with his pickup truck, because he was landlocked now, to dump compost across the natural space and destroying the, vegetation, which I went over with the county, the Suffolk County Department of Health, which put the covenants and restrictions, so they stripped the land use rights off of that. Yes, sir.
Sir, so again, there's a 70-foot distance between your rear property line
Yes,
and his front property line.
yes, along that whole piece, everyone has the same basic.
Right.
I have-
So if he is claiming that the extra 2 feet to make it an 8-foot fence is gonna keep the deer out of his property, how does that affect your property? 70 feet away.
Hold on, it's not 70 feet.
It's not 70 feet?
No, when you go up my
Speak
my
in the
driveway,
mic.
okay, sorry, when you go up my driveway, on the right side is my house. On the left side is the gentleman's house here, the fence is gonna end there. But when you drive through the neighborhood, you can see the fence through people's yards. I've had my neighbors come, my friends of mine come, and they see the poles up, and they go, Don, what's going on there? So they're putting an 8-foot deer fence up. I said, why do they need an 8-foot deer fence? Because all the houses are here, the deer are not gonna cut through, jump over somebody's fence that's there, cut through their property to get onto their property. So, I mean, if you would wanna use that as the front of their, property line, where the buffer zone is, along the back of everyone else's, the neighbor's property, then a 4-foot fence should suffice what's allowed. They're going double the height of what's allowed. You think the deer are really gonna come through the neighborhood, walk down the block and go in?
But I'm just asking, how does how does the height of this applicant's front fence, how does it affect your rear property line 70 feet away? Can you explain that to me?
My rear property line,
Yeah.
is not 70 feet.
According to
set-
this survey that we're looking at here, your rear property line is,
Hold on, they're putting the
confusing
fence,
Building envelope.
they're putting the fence along the rear property line of everyone else. They're using that as the front.
So they're not gonna build it around their allowed building
That's where it
lot.
should be.
I see.
That's where no, I don't care. They can put a 100-foot fence on their property.
This is where lies the confusion.
Exactly.
The-
It's been like this
The
since I...
property owners should have depicted on the survey where the fence is going, so we know where you're putting it. So, do you have a survey that shows where you're gonna put the fence?
right,
This is the building envelope.
right.
They can't, so it's not his property line, it's his building envelope. His property line's here.
That's what he's
They're-
talking
they're-
about. So he's 70 feet away.
He's saying he wants to put it there, yes.
He's 70 feet away.
Yeah, but where are the
According to this.
So see the area line?
It's 70 feet away though, right?
That's what he's saying.
That property line.
He didn't wanna put them all there.
When I can talk to them, just let me
They
know.
own the whole thing,
What?
but the building lot is allowed for construction
Just like,
in this lot.
because they already.
I put fence around it,
It's
but,
70 feet away.
no, not there, I wouldn't put it there, I wouldn't allow it.
Yeah.
I don't care, I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm
I think
saying
it's
that,
correct.
this is his,
Can I come up?
you know, this is where he has his
But don't
This
call
is,
it bush, 'cause
this
it has to be
gentleman's property is right here.
No, no,
It's 70 feet away from it.
I get it.
If this is an
Let me
8-foot
explain
fence,
to you what we thinking
how
it
does
is.
that affect?
I have this.
It's gonna be right
He
here.
wants to put the fence along like this.
Doesn't matter?
Not here.
Right, we want, you know, he hasn't shown anywhere
Yeah,
on
yeah.
any plan where he wants to put it.
And they're losing their crops, pears and all that.
Do you want to explain exactly?
Don't explain to me. You need to go from the mic, they wanna see.
They denied it just based on the height.
Right, so this is his property here, and then he is 70 feet
I
away,
don't know if
according
they
to
asked
this,
for cut.
Yes, this is
And I used to
7
be
from
the
your
chief
front
building
yard,
inspector.
right here, right?
So,
No, this is
I
your
know
front
that
yard,
these
right here.
are,
No, this whole lot is our 9-acre property.
I get it, but covenant
This
restrictions
side
are
is natural
enforced,
buffer,
not by the
this
town.
is usable
Where are you
property.
putting your fence?
They're,
We are putting
You
fence
have to
on
go
the
to
entire border of our
enforce
property,
it.
where this is
However,
other people's farm, this is farmland,
there
so
So
we
you're putting your
restrictions
rear
on
fence, you're
farming
putting your
on
fence
these parcels
in
that
his
have
rear yard.
actual
already
covenants,
have,
because they don't want any nitrates
Sorry?
added to
Mr. Donner already
system.
have fence up
Correct,
there,
they're not allowed to do
What height?
anything on
6
these,
foot.
these areas
And
that I
then
know
all
of.
these neighbors
But the
already have
covenants
their
would
6-foot
would
fence.
say
The neighbors already have
So
6-foot
you're gonna put
fence.
your fence against his fence?
No, we're not gonna do it. The one that already have fence, we're not gonna put it.
Hold on. The gentleman that was just testifying,
He already has a fence,
he
6-foot
has it right
fence.
here.
Yep,
He has a 6-foot fence in his
Correct.
backyard? So you're not going to
no,
go higher than a 6-foot fence?
no,
are you?
not gonna put any
Where are you
fence at
going to go
all.
higher?
Only on the side that has no fence. To continue the fence. So this whole side is no fence.
So can I ask just a hypothetical question here? Why would you not continue it across the whole?
Because they already have fence,
Because they already have a fence.
they already have fence. So if
This
these
is
people,
already in the code
these
allowed.
people all have 6-foot fence, and I don't need to.
You're not allowed to put an 8-foot fence up unless you get
So,
a variance.
okay, so you're not putting your
Most
8-foot fence here, you're putting it only over here, which is not even in his
No.
backyard. Okay, thank you,
Thanks for clarifying.
thank you.
No, that's not,
Sir?
I have it in the code.
they changed it.
Recently?
Sir?
Yep.
So, what my contention is,
Irrespective of that, this area most likely is coveted by the county.
yes, it is.
So that has to be discovered through a process where we ask for these documents through the hearing.
Okay.
We have our attorney review the documents and recommend to us what we can and cannot grant.
That's what happened last time.
Not while I was here, but anyway,
Not 2013.
yeah,
Mr. Kosahevich back here.
Sir?
that's just a fence, but you need to go back to the mic.
Okay,
But
that's
we'll
fine.
talk. Did they depict anything?
Sir?
Yes, sir.
Did
Oh,
they
if
show
you
you?
go back to the microphone, that'd be great.
Did they show anything
So,
on that?
I was just speaking to the applicants, and in your rear yard,
Yes, sir.
they're actually not going to raise the fence by 8 feet, they're going to keep it at 6 feet.
And is that's depicted in the minutes?
I'm sorry?
That's gonna be in the minutes of the meeting that they are
Yeah.
gonna, okay.
The 8-foot fence is actually going to be behind lot 11, 10, 9, and 8. That's what they
Okay,
just told
that
me.
runs from,
That
55
runs
55
basically
to
to the left
25.
from the left of their driveway,
okay,
all the way to the left.
But how far is the fence gonna be off the property line?
that's the next question.
As opposed
This is
to
not
the
in the
building.
plan.
Well, you have to bring up the applicant for that, yeah.
Is it,
So I think what we need to do is ask the applicant for a resubmission or an additional submission to show us a plan depicting the fence where they want it located and copies of the covenant and restrictions so we can review them. Because when they did this subdivision, which I think was for Dune Estates at the time, they put restrictions on this big lot, and they may have done that in conjunction with Suffolk County. So I need to see those covenants. We need to review them.
The owner would like, I think, would like to add to this?
You have to go to the
You
mic.
have to go to the mic. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna move away, 1 second. I have a copy of the covenants and restrictions, you're more than welcome to make a copy of them, keep them yourself.
You can provide a copy, but I would like a copy from them,
Okay, that's fine.
because their lot may be different than yours.
The covenants and restriction is only applied to constructions, like, in natural buffer areas such as a pool or man-made structure, which
Okay.
we are not intending to do that. The natural buffer is intending to keep it natural.
Okay,
So
but
we
are
are
you
not
allowed
putting
to
any
use it for
man-made
farming?
structure.
Are you allowed to use it by farming it?
We are not going to do farming.
Okay, let's put it this way. We would like a copy of your covenant and restrictions, copy of your deed, and a survey, you can pencil it in. And, well, it should have been submitted with us so we know where the fence was going.
Did you submit surveys? You submit 10 copies? 11 copies of surveys.
I understand, but do you show the fence on here?
You show the fence, where you want to put the fence.
That's what we want.
Can we mark it now?
No, we're gonna have you come back in 2 weeks. But come back with a survey that
But you have
depicts.
the surveys.
No, I want you to write on here and draw the proposed 8-foot fence on this particular survey. And you can bring it back in 2 weeks on the 24th. Or, if you wanna help yourself to speed it along, you can provide it to our clerk and bring it to the building department. Copy of the restrictions, covenant restrictions, and a map depicting the fence where you're gonna locate it on this property. Okay?
Now that we have some neighbor here in support of our fence, can they speak few words?
Sure. Absolutely.
We'll give you your turn.
This gentleman's coming up. You'll get your turn.
I'm not gonna give you the heave-ho.
Give him the heave-ho.
And if you kindly raise your right hand, do you swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your names and your addresses.
My name is John Speciati, 78 West Alfred Avenue, Beating Hollow.
And I'm Colleen Coleman Speciati, same address.
Okay, what lot number is that?
24?
24?
24.
It's adjacent to the property.
Okay. Go ahead, you got the floor.
Okay, we're a very tight community, very tight neighborhood. Everybody gets along great. Everybody's property is very meticulously maintained. I see no problem at all. They're not like building a wall, they're building a deer fence, which is gonna help me, so I appreciate that as well. I've had a buck in my backyard. I've had a 6-foot buck in my backyard. I have a dog that almost got killed by this buck. I think this is more of a neighborly dispute, unfortunately. I have a picture that was sent, a flyer that was put in my mailbox that they are applying, it was handwritten on the variance that they want to do a tree farm open to the public, which is obviously not true. So unfortunately, I think it's more of a neighborly dispute than anything else.
So have you ever witnessed them selling any trees out of there?
No, I have not.
Okay, so, again, we're gonna ask for them to resubmit or submit to us through the building department within a week, or even sooner, and they can depict their fence where they wanna put it, and we want copies of the covenant and restrictions, and then we'll.
I understand that.
Then we'll try to make a
They-
decision.
They maintain their property beautifully.
Yes,
It's a very
we were there,
beautiful.
we saw it.
The neighborhood is beautiful.
I
And there's
get it.
already a farm, there's already a side farm there that already has the deer fence up as well.
We saw it.
It's gonna protect the rest of the community and neighborhood. Once again, I had a buck in my backyard, which is kinda weird, but they're right across the street, so that's gonna help the rest of the neighborhood.
But you said you're lot 24.
That is correct.
Where is that?
It's across the street.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you for your concerns.
Any other neighbors? Yeah. You swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Kindly state your name and your address.
Tom Verbeck, 221 Williams Way South. I'm a rear yard neighbor to the gentleman and lady. I moved in about 2 years ago. They installed the 8-foot fence behind my house, about 160 feet behind my house. We back up to each other pretty much with a right-of-way between us. Moved in about 17 months, 18 months ago. And when I did, there was a burglary in the neighborhood. They ripped off 11 sheds, stole all the equipment for landscaping. They broke into a few houses. Riverhead Police did not make an arrest. They entered from the back property. Since he put the fence up on the 160-foot, my neighbor and my adjacent neighbors, we've had no more foot traffic. We have no more people passing through the property. We don't have transients coming off Edwards Avenue entering our neighborhood. So it's kind of a nice peace of mind knowing it's back there. Second of all, as far as the gentleman said about no deer getting in, I met these folks 2 weeks ago when I chased 4 deer out of their backyard that were trying to get out.
they got stuck in the back property. We kind of ushered them out, 2 babies and the dad. The property is very roughly vegetated. I've seen the pear trees back there. I've seen the deer eating off the pear trees. So I welcome the fence. The fence is doing a service to quite a few of us, and me in particular, I'm happy it's there.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Verba.
You swear to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
State your name and your address.
My name is Charles Gassar. I live at 55 West Alfred Avenue, Lot 11.
Catching on.
So you're to the left of their driveway.
I'm to the left of their driveway. My rear yard borders along their front yard.
Right.
Okay, I agree with the sentiments that were just expressed. We are a very nice community. People take very good care of their property. And the neighbors that are seeking this appeal, I've always had a great relationship with. I have no problem with them. We've always been on friendly terms. However, when I came home to see what was being done in the neighborhood, and by the way, probably 80% of this has been completed and was done without a permit, and my neighbor, who's not here tonight, had told me that she called the town and a stop work order was issued immediately. That was basically how this all got off the ground. My entire backyard now has 9-foot posts up, okay? They stopped the work, so there has been no steel mesh that has been put up yet. They're halfway across my yard, and then they stop. There's posts laying down on their side of the property. But understand something, we're talking about 75 feet off Mr. McIntosh's property. We're talking about a gentleman who's talking 160 feet. I'm 20 feet off my patio. An 8-foot fence. It's their front yard. They're allowed for 4 foot. I have no problem with that. I understand people have fences. I don't have any fence in my backyard. If he wants to put up a fence, or she wants to put up a fence, that's their right. I can't get in the way of that. However, an 8-foot fence is completely daunting. And this is on a front property. This is not vegetation that's left undone. This is a meticulously maintained lawn on both of our properties, okay? And they've gone right up to the property line. There was no buffer, there was no break in between. So I want you to understand how I have 8-foot fence. It's to this, and it stands shadows over my entire property, my rear property. And I think my 8-year-old said it best. He said, "Daddy, it looks like they're putting up a jail over here." Those were his words, okay?
So, but it's in your rear yard?
Yes, it
And-
runs the entire span of all of my neighbors' properties.
Right. And from your front yard, according to this survey I'm looking at here, it's 134 feet from your front yard to your rear yard, correct?
I would agree with that.
So you feel your curb appeal or your quality of life from your front yard is affected by this rear, by this rear fence that your neighbor has?
My backyard is completely encapsulated going across the length with he hasn't built it yet because he stopped because they issued a stop work order, okay? Therefore, my point being, it is completely boxed in my yard, okay? Because we're putting an 8-foot fence. And again, this is his front yard. This isn't his rear. His rear yard, he has a 6-foot fence, and he's okay with leaving a 6-foot fence there, but in his front yard, he wants the other one. The pear trees are all in the backyard. This is going along his front yard, which is a lawn that looks like sod. It's beautiful. This is not like a farm field. This is specifically a well-maintained, beautifully manicured front yard, as is my backyard. And I just find 8 feet to be obnoxious, over the top, and you know, it's against what the codes are. As I said, we have a very good relationship. I mean, I genuinely care for these people, but I'm not going to sit back and not say something if I feel that my property is being abused, and that's how I feel. And I just want to go on record and say
How would
it.
you feel if they brought the fence back to the building lot line?
I would want to see what that is. And you know what? Had we had a discussion like that, we may not be here tonight. I may not be here tonight.
It would have been helpful if it was depicted on the plan.
As
And it
my
wasn't,
other
because
neighbors
it's a
feel the
guess.
same way. And if this does get pushed back, I would imagine they'll be coming, because I know they were upset they couldn't come tonight. And these are people whose backyards are being directly affected by this.
So let me ask you, if he pushed the fence back to his building lot line, would you be objecting to it? It's about 70 feet.
I would not be objected to that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the time to speak.
Oh, sure.
I'm sorry, can you just,
Yes, sir.
your rear property line is that affected
Yes. Come and see it.
by the extra 2 feet?
The extra 2 feet?
From a 6 foot to an 8 foot?
It's 4 foot. I don't, there's no fence there now. He's looking to get
But he's
4 feet
entitled to a
additional,
6-foot
because it's his
fence
front
in the
yard.
right?
He's talking about, it's in his front yard.
No. The applicant's front yard is his backyard.
Yeah,
Correct.
His backyard is entitled to a 6-foot fence, right?
yes, but he doesn't have a.
I never put one there because it's not, I have a very wide lot. It's not a very deep lot. You're welcome to come anytime and see it.
Just asking, sir.
No problem. Thank you again very much.
Okay.
Can I speak again? I'd like to ask this gentleman a question, if you
Go
go
ahead.
to the mic.
We'll take you, then we'll take you folks. We'll get you.
Can I speak first? and then
Yeah, go ahead.
you can ask about it? I'd just like to let you know, the gentleman said about the transients and everything, I'm not against that part of the fence. That is encompasses from the catch basin west towards Alfred Avenue, runs along the, we're gonna call it the back section of Mr. Woe's property. That's fine. What I'm objecting to is the request for the 8-foot fence to run along the neighbors' properties where they have to go out and sit and look at an 8-foot open wire deer fence. Where the other part of the property, I don't care. 8 foot is fine. 6 foot is fine. It keeps the deer out from coming across the sod farms into his property this way. I don't think an 8-foot fence is necessary to be run along the, we're gonna call it the, eastern side of his property, which abuts
The rear yards.
the
of-
rear yards.
Right.
There, like I said, that part, the deer are not gonna come walking through the neighborhood and go into his property that way. They're gonna come from the farmer, which is behind, I think it's Rock Camps. That's all open. There is no deer fence there. The only deer fence there is along Alfred Avenue, they decided to put just along the rear yards of that and not do it anywhere else. If you go from Mr. Woe's house and head towards Edwards Avenue, there is no deer fence except for what he has. So all the deer are coming that way. Now they're not coming in anymore. They're not gonna walk through the neighborhoods, cut through everybody's yard and go to get his fruit trees. It's all populated, Williams Way, Donna Drive now, Alfred Avenue, West Alfred, the circle of houses. That's all fenced off. There was an 8.5 acre piece of property, which is across from the Riley Avenue School playground area. That's all deer fenced in. There's no way, they'd have to walk down Donna Drive and make a left and come into his property. So I don't have no objection to the fence on the rest of his property, which runs from, it's not on the plans, but I know where it is. It runs from the corner of the catch basin, like I said, out towards Edwards, across the
So,
back.
from the
I'm
west-
just objecting to the 8-foot, it's unnecessary to have the 8-foot fence along the back property.
From the west, the north, and the south, you don't have no problem with.
No,
You
I
just
never did have a problem with
the
that.
east, which is the
Yeah,
backyards
I
of
never
all
had a
of those
problem with
lots.
all the other fence. That, I never even mentioned in my, when I was discussing. It was only that one piece, and that was it.
So would you object if they pulled it back to the building line, 70 feet
That's not right.
back?
I don't agree with that. That's their property, why should they give up their 70 feet of their property? I don't agree with that.
I'm
Especially
asking
if
if they object to, because you don't know what the covenants say. because-
Well,
Let's wait till we get all the paperwork in here.
Okay.
I think we're,
Yeah, all I'm objecting to is going from 4
we
foot to 8
understand,
foot.
we
and that's the
understand
other-
your objection.
Okay.
All right. If you folks want to say anything else, please step up.
I want to ask
Did you have a
this
question?
Oh,
Yes,
you have a
sir.
question?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
It has nothing to do with the fence. Are the covenants up to date? I mean, are they alive? Because sometimes you move into an area and they expire and nobody does anything about them.
Okay, I have a copy of the covenants and restrictions which were put on by by Suffolk County Department of Health. And the only reason the covenants and restrictions, it's on the open space buffer area, that it cannot be developed at all. There cannot, if you read them, there cannot be any removal of any dirt. The grass and the area cannot be mowed down. There cannot be any spraying of any sort of, we'll call it chemicals for like the pear trees, they can only use organics. I have it in there. I had a big discussion. That's all in the covenants and restrictions. When I bought the property, which was, this was a brand-new development, brand-new subdivision, and that's what was put on it, and it was agreed by the town of Riverhead, signed off on it, the builder signed off, everybody. That's like and you can put a fence on that property. You're allowed to put a structure of a fence. You're allowed to put the fence up there. That's allowed with the covenants to encompass it. But like I said, it's going from 4, I don't think the 8 foot is necessary across the back property lines where people inhabit, and the deer would have to walk down the block now because it waits. Yes, sir.
I'm just asking a question here. The applicant's east property line is 70 feet off from the rear property lines of everybody else's, correct?
That's their building
That's
envelope.
their
building
envelope.
plot.
No, according to this survey, it's listed in meets and bounds. If you look at the dashed lines.
Do you see a square inside a square?
That's all there, it's a square inside the cell.
Square. They wanna build it right here on his property now.
It's a rectangle inside.
That's why I was asking if they can put it around their building envelope. Would it be acceptable? But we don't have the answers yet. We have to wait till we see where they wanna put the fence on the map and what the covenants say.
So, nobody has a problem with any other perimeter of the property except the east part, which is bordering the rear property yards
Of everybody
All the
else.
other
people.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
If it's gonna be, I don't know if it's the right terminology, reserved decision?
Well, the owner has.
No.
No.
We're not closing.
No, I mean, will I be notified again if there's another hearing?
There's gonna be another hearing in the next meeting,
Yeah, we're gonna resolve it.
May 24th. Folks, if you wanna come up, please.
Right now, Mr. Donald said there's no problem with the west, south, and north. Only problem he think that is along the neighbor.
No, only problem he thought we're gonna put an 8 foot behind him, which we are not.
We are not, it's already
So,
there.
It's already there, they have a 6 foot.
6
fence.
foot.
So what
And-
I'm proposing is, for people who really like the 8 foot deer fence, which protect their yard, we put 8 foot, and for Chuck, who doesn't like the 8 foot, we put 6 foot.
Yeah, we are friend of Chuck, and,
May I make a suggestion? Your front yard is at the rear yards of all the property on West Alfred Avenue.
Correct.
Right. The people on West Alfred Avenue so far have testified that they have a problem with their rear fence being at 8 feet tall, with your rear fence being 8
that's
feet
only,
tall.
Mr.
So
Chuck.
if you made your south, your west, and your north 8 feet tall, and your east fence, which is bordering their rear yard 6 feet tall, I don't see anybody complaining about that.
Why do 6
No.
feet, the deer will still get in?
What?
Because if they, if the.
They can jump
if
6
our-
foot fences. So what's the sense doing part?
If our neighbors
defeating
would
the
put fence
purpose.
in their backyard, it
I'm
would
just
be
making a
6 foot
point.
fence.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
let's everybody get all the paperwork in, get the covenants in, but we're not gonna deal with this until the next meeting, which is the 24th of May.
They want to do
Yeah,
it
we
right.
want the location of the
I heard
fence.
He said they put trees here.
And we
First
want,
we have to
we want a
find out
copy
if
of the
it's allowed
covenants.
to be farmed. It may not be allowed to be farmed.
if, if,
Hold on, sir, 1 second.
yeah,
Go ahead, finish what you're
yeah,
saying.
if, Mr. Chuck, want 6 foot, we put a 6 along his, border.
And Mr. Patrick want 8 foot, we put 8 foot behind his.
And, we
Now
have,
you want 8 foot?
we have
Hey,
this civil issue solved.
Don't you wanna keep the deer out?
I do.
6
But we
foot
don't want
doesn't
Yeah,
help.
but-
I'm happy, we like Chuck.
But as, Donald said, along this
You're in,
side.
Chuck.
Yeah, we
You know,
just wanna
just
get
wanna
it
make
done.
every- I
We
just
have
wanna
no
know
time
Let's
to.
look at the facts first, and then we'll tell you what we wanna do, what we'll grant. All right? Fair enough? So, submit your covenant restrictions, yours,
And where the fence is gonna be.
and where the fence is gonna be on the survey. Submit it to the building department, give it to Carissa, and then we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Thank you.
Okay. I move that appeal number 8.
Oh, is there anybody else?
Oh.
Be heard? Is there anybody else that wants to be heard? Sure, come on forward, sir.
Hey, Leroy. Maybe this assessment thing, what they're proposing in here, they haven't, they were in conflict, they're talking 6 and 8 foot.
Curb appeal is obviously, and quality of life is a big issue, obviously, and a safety concern, obviously. If I had to look out my backyard and see the 6-foot solid wall, that wouldn't be too appealing. It's a deer fence. There's nothing blocking any view or anything. It's not like looking at a jail. If you have a solid fence, it is. It's a deer fence. This is a farming community. You know that a 6-foot fence is not gonna keep out deer. We all know that. This is a farming community.
Thank you.
And thanks. For the record, if my neighbor put up an 8-foot fence, I'd shake his hand.
No, you're gonna have to go up to the microphone. You have to go up to the microphone. Microphone.
Time's up.
When they submit where the fence is gonna go, their driveway goes in. So they must put show an 8-foot gate on their driveway to keep the deer out.
That's correct.
And the gate must be kept closed at all times, not left open so the deer can get in. So therefore, whenever they're home or whenever they're away, the gate, it must be kept closed if they want to keep the deer out, because that is an entrance for the deer to get in. So they must show a gate also on the plans. But
Well,
it
that
must
would
be
make only
kept,
sense anyway. They're trying to keep the deer out.
yeah, so,
I would think they put it.
but it must be kept closed at all times.
I think that'd be the smart thing to do. Thank you.
So if they put an automatic closer on it or whatever, I'm just letting them know that, because this, otherwise, so we don't have to come back again in June.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna adjourn.
Jeremy.
I wish to adjourn appeal number 18-021 to the next meeting, May 24th, 2018.
Second.
Mr. Barnes.
Aye.
Mrs. Worthington.
Aye.
Mr. Whitmire.
Aye.
Mr. Seabrook.
Aye.
I vote aye. See you folks on the 24th. Thank you for your patience, and we'll see you then, everybody. Thank you.
That was all the-
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes from the last meeting.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes, sir, what are you here for?
Let's see, because I was told a decision was gonna be made on.
We're still in discussion with that. We said it'd be the next meeting. I announced that at the very beginning of the meeting.
No, I came in late.
Sorry about
Didn't
that,
know.
sir.
That's right, so next meeting?
Yes.
Next meeting. Which one are you talking about?
The deli.
12 East Main
The
Street.
deli? Yeah. Next meeting, we'll have a decision for it.
All right, thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right, sports fans, we accepted the minutes of the last meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion,
Mr.
Mr.
Chairman?
Chairman, we adjourn.
Yes.
All in favor?
I'll second that, Mr. Whitmire.
Aye.
Aye.
Everybody in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can cut the tape, thank you. Thank you,
Aye,
folks.
aye, aye, aye.